Before I do spoil the 11th Doctor Chronicles Broken Hearts, here's the trailer.
Patricia Lockwood is unavailable at the moment. Please leave a message.
Hi, Mum. It's me.
From Big Finish Productions.
Is this still about the junkyard?
Yes, it's still about the junkyard.
You said you were fine.
I also said your joke about the mechanoids was funny.
Doctor Who, the 11th Doctor Chronicles, Broken Hearts.
You paid me because you knew I was desperate. What does that make you, Doctor? And what does that make me?
I wasn't quite myself.
Neither was I by the time you'd finished with me.
We saved the world.
At my expense. You broke me.
The Doctor was called. The Doctor did not respond. The war breached the skies above Iphias, and a catastrophic event occurred. 700 sectors searched. No survivors.
Valerie?
This statue, is he the Doctor?
Yes, well, he was, but he's sort of gone. Tell me how to make it better.
I don't think you can. Just land the TARDIS somewhere quiet and let me out. Okay, I just need time, space, and not the sort you offer.
Big Finish, for the love of stories.
That was the trailer for the 11th Doctor Chronicles Broken Hearts, which is kind of a pause between volumes 4 and 5, and kind of what's the word I'm looking for, kind of re-establishes who the 11th Doctor Valerie are, and kind of shows how we get from the end of Curiosity Shop to the beginning, which is the final story in volume 4, to the beginning of volume 5, which I will get to in a minute. But Broken Hearts, kind of the key thing is kind of giving this is the first kind of time, and we've never had a story like this really, where the companion basically wants to leave the Doctor because of how betrayed they feel. So it's a very interesting story, and kind of this series is kind of split into two. Kind of with this would probably be either this would be kind of in the middle of the two parts, which was the case of both Doctor Who series 6 and 7. Obviously, this series being set during that series 7 time era, so yeah, and kind of it is a quieter story with just the two characters, and kind of the Doctor introduces Valerie to the idea of regeneration, and it kind of with a statue of the 8th Doctor, which is on the cover of Broken Hearts. The kind of the idea that kind of who the Doctor is, and his all of his other incarnations being there, and kind of it follows on from the events of Curiosity Shop. So if you haven't listened to Curiosity Shop, it kind of wouldn't make sense to start here. I would suggest that at least if you want to listen to Broken Hearts, at least listen to Curiosity Shop as part of the 11th Doctor Chronicles Volume 4. Yes, this leads into kind of the second half of the 11th Doctor Chronicles with the 11th Doctor and Valerie, with the 11th Doctor Chronicles Volume 5, Everywhere and Anywhere, which was released only 1 month later in December 2023. So yeah, kind of we're heading towards the end of the adventures of the 11th Doctor and Valerie, but we've still got this release and one more to talk about, and then I will talk about the future of the 11th Doctor, a big finish as well. So here is the synopsis. Travelling in the TARDIS is filled with unimaginable delights. You can visit every wonder in the universe, meet the founders of a civilization in the morning, and with the descendants in the afternoon. You get to witness the best of everything history has to offer. However, when you can go everywhere and anywhere, you can also see the dark side of the universe. The cruelty and the hatred and the violence, the worst the universe has to offer, must be fought. That's what the Doctor and Valerie do. They hold the darkness, whatever the cost. We start off with Spirit of the Season, written by Georgia Cook. I did think that she'd written another story for this series, with the following synopsis. It's a Christmas miracle. The Doctor and Valerie have finally found another Clara. Shame she wants to kill them both. We then have All's Fair, written by Max Kievsky. Chicago's World's Fair, 1893, an ideal date for a pair of loved-up engineers. However, there are certain things you don't want to happen on a date. An impossible reunion, derailing things, abominations stalking the streets, your date dying at the end. We then have Sins of the Flesh, written by the showrunner of the 11th Doctor Chronicles, or this series of it, with Valerie, Elfie Shaw. Is your child exhibiting sinful behaviour? Have they set themselves on the road of eternal damnation? Has everyone you tried... the possible abomination stuck in the streets? No, I've read the... Has everything you've tried failed? I was reading the wrong line. Synopsis. Feel like you've out of options? Don't worry, we can help. Bring them to the Rebirth organisation today. Bring them to be converted. This set was recorded between the 15th and 17th of February 2023 and stars Jacob Dudman as the Doctor, Sophia Ingar as Valerie Lockwood, as well as Nicholas Briggs as the Cybermen and Mia Tomlinson as Rowana. So before I do spoil the 11th Doctor Chronicles Volume 5 Everywhere and Anywhere, here's the trailer.
Now, before we begin, any questions?
From Big Finish Productions.
Hi, sorry, this might sound kind of dumb, but the redemption suits, how does the conversion work?
Doctor Who, the 11th Doctor Chronicles. Everywhere and Anywhere.
Jingle bells, the Doctor smells. I'll kill all your friends.
You are not from this world. You are a Time Lord.
Oh, is that why my body keeps changing? I thought it was just vindictive puberty.
Dear God, man! You've disabled the brakes!
Who needs them?
We do!
No, we need every ounce of speed your motor can muster.
Oh no, Valerie. You can't go back and alter the past. Think of the web of time. Hypocrites.
Oh, I hate you.
Sticks and stones will break your bones. So don't say another rude word to me.
Hello. Don't mind us. We were just on our way out.
Valerie? Oh my God, Mum! Hey, now what's all this?
You're okay.
Big Finish, for the love of stories.
Rowana?
Yes?
That was the trailer for the 11th Doctor Chronicles Volume 5 Everywhere and Anywhere, which, as I mentioned before, released in December 2023. Now this set obviously follows on from kind of the first half of the 11th Doctor Chronicles, which finished with All of Time and Space, the second set in this 11th Doctor and Valerie series, a curiosity shop where the Doctor kind of gets Valerie to give him multiple parts of her body, even though he's not actually the Doctor and doesn't know who he is, and causes conflict, which leads into Broken Hearts, and then kind of exploring that in that story, leading us into this set. And in true new series Doctor Who fashion, we start off with a Christmas special, Spirit of the Season, which is kind of the 11th Doctor Chronicles version of a Christmas special, with kind of the Doctor and Valerie finding Clara, only this Clara being an AI thing that wants to kill them, alongside some other characters as well, and kind of that's where the Valerie sees her mum, and the Clara tries to tempt Valerie into changing history, and kind of there's a lot of Valerie's history within this set. But yes, Spirit of the Season is probably one of my favourites of the 11th Doctor Chronicles. Definitely probably my highlight of this set, with it, that Christmas aspect. And then we have All's Fair by Max Kievsky, which kind of we learn where Valerie ends up after travelling with the Doctor. We still don't know what her fate is at the end of her adventures with the Doctor, but we know that she ends up in Chicago in 1893, and that's where she ends up with a husband. Obviously, she's currently dating Rowana, so she kind of, that's the furthest thing away from her. And then we have the final story in the set, Sins of the Flesh, written by the showrunner, basically, of the 11th Doctor Chronicles, Alfie Shaw, where kind of up until this point we've not seen any returning monsters. Obviously, the Doctor, that's kind of it. And the TARDIS and the Sonic. There's been no other mentions to it apart from Curiosity Shop, with kind of mentions of previous Doctors. But up until this point, no Daleks or Master, not the 11th Doctor got to face the Master, but you know what I mean, or Centaurans or anything. And in Sins of the Flesh that changes, because the 11th Doctor and Valerie face off against the Cybermen in a very different and kind of horrifying, terrifying version of the Cybermen, with kind of how they're drawing people in to be converted by getting parents convinced that something is wrong with their child, which obviously should never be the case. There's nothing wrong with anyone. Just kind of they might just be a little bit different, and then there's a clear distinction, and kind of shows how evil the Cybermen can be in that story, and kind of that kind of leads into the final set of not just the 11th Doctor Chronicles featuring the 11th Doctor and Valerie, but the finale of the 11th Doctor Chronicles altogether, with the 11th Doctor Chronicles Volume 6, Victory of the Doctor, obviously changing the name from the Series 5 episode Victory of the Daleks, which has the following synopsis. A long time ago, during every second of existence, there was a war, an impossible war between gods and monsters, a war that should have killed them both. Only the gods are dead and the monsters are back, stronger than ever. The monsters are coming for all of creation. The universe's only hope for survival lies in a blue box. Dr. Valerie Lockwood, the unstoppable duo, ready to stop the monsters and save the universe once again. Except this time, the price of history might be too high. We start off with Don't You Kill My Mother, written by John Dorney. Another day, another set of clients need arbitration. However, this case is special. It's the kind of case that could make a career. It could definitely earn you a promotion. The case, Lockwood versus Hendricks. We then have Daleks Victorious, written by Felicia Barker. Everything dies when the Daleks arrive. Friends, loved ones, even hope itself. As the people of Madruth are about to discover nothing can stand in their way. After all, the Daleks won the last Great Time War, right? We then have the last stand of Miss Valerie Lockwood, written by Alfie Shaw. RIP Valerie Lockwood, 6th of October 5324 to the 1st of May 1893. We then have Victory of the Doctor, obviously the title story, also written by Alfie Shaw. He told them to run. They should have listened. This set was recorded on the 26th to the 28th of July and the 2nd of August 2023, and stars Jacob Dudman as the 11th Doctor, Sophia Ingar as Valerie Lockwood, as well as Nicholas Briggs as the Daleks, and Mia Tomlinson as Rowena. So before I do spoil the 11th Doctor Chronicles Volume 6, Victory of the Doctor, here's the trailer.
From Big Finish Productions.
You ruined my life.
No.
I hate you.
Doctor Who, the 11th Doctor Chronicles, Victory of the Doctor.
Eternal.
Want to test that?
You are nothing to us.
That's because I made a mistake. The rest of the universe, they should all forget about me, but you lot, I should have let you remember. I should have kept you afraid.
Daleks do not feel fear.
You will.
What do you want?
Same thing as you. I want to understand, which is why I'm going to open you up and take you apart, piece by piece.
Special weapons unit deployed. Annihilate.
Well, while you're having a good think, millions of people are out there
You
dying.
think I don't know that? I've seen this before. I gave up everything to put a stop to it, and turns out that wasn't enough.
That's all you had to do. Be my doctor. One more time.
Big Finish, for the love of stories.
That was the trailer for the 11th Doctor Chronicles Volume 6, Victory of the Doctor, and kind of following on from the final story in the last box set, Everywhere and Anywhere, with Sins of the Flesh, with the Return of the Cybermen. This box set is basically a Dalek box set, if you didn't get the idea. But before we get to the Daleks, we've got Didn't You Kill My Mother, written by John Dorney, which kind of goes back to the first box set featuring Valerie, the 11th Doctor Chronicles Volume 3 Geronimo, which I talked about at the start of this episode. That feels long ago. Bear in mind this episode is like half an hour long at this point, and more, so I do apologise to Matt in advance. But so some more episodes are not going to be that long, so it's not going to be an exception. It's not like it's going to be the rule. Kind of follows on from kind of Arabella Hendricks, who was featured in the Inheritance, the first story of the set, the 11th Doctor and Valerie adventures all the way back in Geronimo, which released in October 2022. That kind of Valerie blames Arabella Hendricks for the death of her mother, and kind of this story kind of puts the Doctor having to be unbiased, even though of course he's going to stick by Valerie, and kind of asks Arabella to help him, because we kind of at the end of this story we kind of know that the Daleks are coming, and then that leads into Daleks Victorious by Felicia Barker, which isn't kind of, it's kind of the start of the Daleks. It's not the two-part finale, as I will get to, but kind of it is kind of the return of the Daleks, obviously, because it's the 11th Doctor era. It's the Paradigm Daleks, which are the multicoloured ones, instead of the bronze Daleks that we were used to. And in that trailer we allude to some of the events from even earlier on in Series 7 with Asylum of the Daleks, and kind of the Doctor and Oswin, obviously a version of Clara, as it turns out, kind of gets the Daleks to not know who the Doctor is. But yeah, Daleks Victorious, obviously, as it sounds, kind of the Daleks become victorious at the end, and then the two-part finale, there kind of isn't really a way that I can talk about one bit and then the other, so I've joined them together, which kind of involves the 11th Doctor and Valerie and Moana facing off against the Daleks. But yeah, kind of the Daleks have taken over Madrid, which again was kind of set up in Volume 4, All of Time and Space, The Yearn, and that's where we met Rowana, and then kind of picks up from there, kind of even the synopsis for the third episode, The Last Stand of Miss Valerie Rockwood, written by Alfie Shaw, who's been kind of the showrunner of the 11th Doctor Chronicles, featuring the 11th Doctor and Valerie. Kind of, we know where Valerie ends up, thanks to All's Fair in... was it? It wasn't All of Time. It was Everywhere and Anywhere, wasn't it? It was the middle story in that set, as we kind of learnt what Valerie's destiny is. But yeah, kind of it ends up with the 11th Doctor defeating the Daleks, which obviously we knew, because the 11th Doctor has to, because it's set during his era, that he has to live. Whereas Valerie, we didn't know what was going to happen. But in the final story, Victory of the Doctor, also written by Alfie Shaw, that kind of it ends with the Valerie, the Doctor marrying Valerie and Rowana, and Valerie and Rowana living into the sunset, even knowing what their future looks like. They're focusing on the present right now, and actually in that sense. So I would suggest that the 11th Doctor Chronicles, don't be put off by it not being Matt Smith as the Doctor, as I've spoken about in previous episodes. Kind of, it's just a name. You would go, oh, that's Matt Smith. You wouldn't go, oh, it's definitely not Matt Smith. It's Jacob Tugman. And when you accept that, you'll really have a good time. Because I was a bit hesitant to get this set, but I'm really glad I did. This set, the 11th Doctor Chronicles Volume 6, Victory of the Doctor, not only does it end Valerie and Rowana's story with the 11th Doctor, it ends Jacob Dudman's journey as the 11th Doctor. There will be more from Jacob Dudman in the next episode, but for his role, portrayal of the 11th Doctor, that ends here. But don't worry, the 11th Doctor isn't finishing at Big Finish. We didn't know, following the release of the 11th Doctor Chronicles Volume 6, Victory of the Doctor, we didn't know what the future of the 11th Doctor at Big Finish would be. But at some point last year, the 11th Doctor Adventures was announced, with the first box set in the range titled The First Question, which will have released most likely when you're seeing this episode. As of time of recording, it hasn't been. It releases in March 2026, and stars Miles Taylor as the new Big Finish 11th Doctor, but I will get onto that in a second. Here is the synopsis. Doctor Who: the universe has forgotten the Doctor, or so the Doctor hopes, but there are still adventures to be had, evil to be fought, and lives to save. From 1990s Hong Kong to the depths of space in the far future, and back in time to the Salem witch trials, the Doctor stands firm in his opposition to tyranny and injustice. We start off with the final cut, written by Lisa McMullen from a story by Matt Skiewski. Obviously, both of those writers were writers on the 11th Doctor Chronicles series, so it makes sense. And here's that synopsis. Hong Kong 1990. The Doctor answers a call for help from Eleanor Fong, CEO of Fong Enterprises, only he's 11 years too late, and in those intervening years she's been busy helping people to forget. We then have The Tourist Trap, written by Beth Axford. In an attempt to ease Eleanor into time and space travel, the Doctor takes her to Space Florida. Unfortunately, it's not the relaxing paradise he remembers. The holidaymakers are missing, so are the crew, and something monstrous is closing in. We then have A Delusion of Witches, written by Lisa McMullen. As fear rises amid the Salem witch trials of 1692, one woman knows for absolute certainty that it's not witchcraft or devilry people need to fear, it's human beings. This set was recorded between the 10th and 12th of September 2025 and stars Miles Taylor as the 11th Doctor, the new 11th Doctor for Big Finish. Obviously Matt Smith will always be the 11th Doctor, and the 11th Doctor Chronicles was arranged for Jacob Dudman's interpretations as those Doctors. But in this set, as I said when I was talking about this set and the announcement of it, that Valerie Lockwood is now, we're going on from that part of the 11th Doctor's life, and we meet a new companion, Eleanor Fong, now played by Jasmine Bays. And this is not the only 11th Doctor Adventures set that we can look forward to, because as announced in a recent Big Finish episode of the Big Finish podcast, Nick Briggs, who is the director, I believe, on this set, and the director on the next set, announces that that's already been recorded, or it will be recorded soon. No, I think it had been recorded, so we can look forward to a second adventure, second box set featuring Miles Taylor as the 11th Doctor and Jasmine Bays as Eleanor Fong. But again, as of time of recording, I've not listened to this. There is no trailer or anything, so that's it. So let me know what you thought of the 11th Doctor Chronicles, if you listen to them, as well as what you're looking forward to of the 11th Doctor Adventures. And who knows, by the time you're seeing this episode, maybe it's been released, especially with kind of now the podcast going down to 5 episodes a week. So kind of there isn't as many episodes a week, so kind of if that is possible. But if you haven't, let me know what you thought of my recap. And again, apologies to Matt for the length of this episode. It's basically a double episode, so we might split it into 2. Audio listeners, it will be 1 episode, but just bear that in mind that if you're watching this episode, it might be split into 2, as we're currently running on 41 minutes. But without further ado, and before I cause Matt any more pain, here is at the end of the episode. So without further ado, I will see you in a future episode of the podcast. See you then. Goodbye.